30 years. 30
That's like a mortgage
years.
right there.
Guys, I'm going to be like 76. I'm going to be an old woman.
You're listening to The Calm, The Storm,
The Whimsy
podcast.
You want to hear a story about my adventure on the way home? From
Today?
Eliza cleaning the barn? Do we have a second? Real quick?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're driving my lovely car. That 2016 Town and Country that's hanging on by a thread. We are driving it and we are driving. And I'm like, I just want some ginger beer. So we're going to stop at the liquor store to get some ginger beer. So we go in there because I am not going to Walmart to get ginger beer. I can't go into Walmart.
Yeah.
At this hour, I would have been hurt. So
At this hour.
it's like 6 o'clock.
At any hour.
On
That's
that
true.
side of the highway,
That's
you
true.
just don't do that.
It's just funny.
It's so weird.
So we go in there, or we're on our way there, and this has happened twice, and I thought it was just me. I thought it was like my eyes or something, that my whole dashboard went black for a second. So we're driving, Liza's playing music, and sure enough, everything went black.
Oh, no.
The dashboard, my speedometer, all the things, like the radio, everything went black and then came back on.
Oh, boy.
I'm like, we got to last a few more months, Vanos. Come
Mine
on.
keeps resetting.
Vanos.
Vanos. That's the name.
Vanos.
Vanos. Okay, so here's the other story that I can't wait to tell Lenny. So we go to the liquor store. We find the ginger beer, which is non-alcoholic, just for everybody to know, and the cashier that thought Naomi was carrying around beer. She was not.
Oh, my goodness.
My mom's like, you took those kids in the liquor store? I'm like, it's either that or Walmart, Mom. What do you prefer? It's
probably safer.
Yeah. So anyway, so we go and we're getting ready to check out. And we have a 2-liter of diet ginger ale that Liza begged for, and the diet ginger beer, which Naomi was holding. And there was a lady in front of me with a whole cart full of alcohol. So she's checking out, and the cashier lady's talking to her and goes, did you see who's going to be here Saturday? And I'm like, of course, nosy. And she's like, Hulk Hogan. I'm like, no way. Hulk Hogan's going to be here? And Liza's like, Mom.
Is that for real?
I'm like, are you for real?
Wait.
Is Hulk Hogan coming here? And she goes, oh, yeah, he's coming here on Saturday. If you want to meet him, you just have to buy a 12-pack of beer. I'm like, where do I sign up? I'll buy the beer. I just got to meet Hulk Hogan.
Oh.
Wait, what time?
Hulk Hogan
Okay,
in
no.
Green, Ohio.
I need to
from
know.
11:30 to 1:30. And if you want to meet him, you have to buy a case of beer that he's signed. So I said, if I bring my whole family, do we each have to buy a case of beer? Or are you going to let the kids go if I buy one case of beer? Because I don't need all that beer. She goes, I don't really know. I'm like, well, I'll be here. She goes, well, I'll be here too. And the sad thing is she's trying to check this lady out, and I totally hijacked the conversation.
Okay, so I think Hillary and I are going to have to be at the liquor store on Saturday morning
We have
at
to
11:30 to video this.
I am so excited. I am wearing my
everybody know
Hulkmania
about
shirt
this?
that I made.
Yeah.
No, I haven't told my whole family.
Well,
I
I
haven't
know,
told
but
Lenny
it,
yet.
Like
Everybody
Is it
that
gonna be
shops at
packed?
the liquor store,
I should
I'm
ask
sure
my
it's going to be
brother-in-law
packed.
because he's a bourbon guy and that's where he gets some of his bourbons.
Oh, it's going to be packed.
it's
Hulk
packed.
Hogan, guys.
Oh my gosh.
People are going to be driving from all
we
over the
could
country.
go viral right here.
I need
Okay.
you to act like your
So-
best Baymax loving self.
Oh my gosh.
Tackle him.
So then I proceed to tell the guy
Wait,
behind
is Donald
me.
Trump coming with him?
Then I decided to tell the guy behind me and the cashier after that lady left. So when I was a kid, like, I loved Hulk Hogan. And I used to play Barbies. And I thought Ken was a dork. So I'd always steal Hulk Hogan from my brother's room. And they were like rolling. Because Barbie had to be married to Hulk Hogan, not Ken with the comb over.
Okay,
No.
so we need to recreate this. You need a Barbie and a Hulk Hogan.
I don't have. Ooh,
We need
Leo
to
has a
figure it
Hulk
out
Hogan.
somehow. Oh, he does?
He does.
With you
I need a Ken though,
holding
with the
them.
helmet hair. Who's cooler? Who's cooler?
we should
Not
see if we can get in like 15 minutes early with our podcast. See if he'd help us.
Oh Oh my gosh.
I
I have
wonder
a
if they
microphone
let us.
and
But,
be like,
like,
can I record you
I
right
am
here?
like
Hulk
I am
Hogan is
so
live.
excited. Like, remember when we talked about our childhood
Hillary,
crush?
how do we
Mine
make
was-
that happen? Do we call the liquor store?
We should go and talk to him. Get her own private viewing.
I don't know about that. I mean my family.
I mean, when he rips that shirt off.
I didn't mean it like
Do you remember when I talked about my childhood crush? You guys have all these like people, and I'm like,
Hulk Hogan. Oh, we remember. How could we forget?
I have a Hulk Hogan
Wow.
shirt that I'm gonna wear. I'm so excited.
You're going to have to wear your bandana.
Ooh, I do have a bandana. I
Which
could put the
liquor
mustache
store?
on.
Is it the one on Portage Lake?
Okay.
It's by
Oh, yeah.
yours.
Let's do, okay. Plan.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
I'm going. Nothing's gonna stop me.
Well, we know, but we're going to try to get in early.
So-
Meet Hulk Hogan, crash him, crush him,
Oh.
because he has his own beer. So I called my mom because I was so excited. I'm like, Mom,
I need to call the liquor store.
Yeah.
And I need to say, is there any way that I can get in a little bit
I
early?
think you should talk to him to their face.
Oh, I should go there.
Tell them about her episode where he is her guy.
Yes.
he's not my guy. Lenny's my guy.
And we talked about him
Kelly.
twice. Actually, we've talked about him multiple times
Lenny
on our
is not
podcast.
threatened by Hulk Hogan and you.
And
Okay?
just so you know, I still don't have a crush on him. I'm just a fan.
We
He
know.
got old,
Yeah.
but I still
But-
like
Jumping
him.
up and down that she didn't liquor store today proves that.
Oh, I wish I would have been there to hear
Yeah.
I'm so
that.
glad I stopped to get ginger beer. Like,
Yeah.
my whole life could be.
You're like,
changed.
Mom, this is why I stopped at the liquor store with my kids instead of Walmart.
Okay.
Hulk Hogan is going to be there.
So-
And if I went to Walmart, I would have never known.
I know.
crazy.
So then when we went to buy the stuff,
like
Naomi's
divine intervention.
Naomi's holding the ginger beer, and the lady lost her mind. Honey, you can't hold that. You can't touch that. Put that on the counter. I'm like, ma'am, there is no alcohol in this. She goes, are you sure it's beer? I'm like, it's ginger beer. There's no alcohol content in
Like
ginger beer, and this is
essentially
ginger ale.
ginger
Oh my
ale.
God. It was so funny. She goes, I could just get in really big trouble. You're not really supposed to have kids. They're not allowed to touch anything in here. I'm like, okay, well, this is ginger beer. I'm really sorry.
Oh
it's okay.
my
So I
gosh.
call my mom. I'm like, Mom, you are never going to believe what just happened. She's like, what? I'm like, I went into the liquor store. She's like, what are you going to the liquor store for? And I'm like, and Naomi and Eliza, you took your girls to the liquor store? I did, Mom. Why would you do that? Well, I could have went to Walmart, but I didn't want to get to Walmart. So I went to the liquor store to get some ginger beer. Ginger beer? I'm like, it's not alcohol, Mom. It's just ginger beer. Isn't that expensive? I'm like, really? No, Mom. It's really not that expensive. And I think I
Isn't
can
that
buy a case of ginger beer.
I can splurge on that,
So
Mom.
I'm like, Mom, Hulk Hogan is coming. She's like, what? Where? I'm like, to Green, like to the liquor store. What? I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta take my whole family. She goes, wait, you're taking them to the liquor store? I'm like, no, Mom, I'm taking them to meet Hulk Hogan. She's like, are you taking Lenny? I'm like, well, I would think so, but I'm gonna be there. My kids are gonna be there. I would hope Lenny comes with us.
Oh my
oh
gosh.
my goodness. This
That's
is
crazy.
amazing. What in the world?
Yeah. So Hulk Hogan, Saturday, 11:30 to 1:30. I am going,
Yes.
and I will try not to make a fool out of myself.
I hope you do. I didn't think so.
Okay. Should I?
We could, because that way our stories can go
Oh.
into this.
Yes. Okay.
But you have stories too, don't you?
I do, but mine's going to kind of go with my goals.
Okay.
So I'm okay. But do you have a story?
I did want to tell you guys something. It's not as exciting as Hulk Hogan.
I know, right? So we lead by Hulk Hogan.
Gosh. But
That's amazing.
I just had to share that I was listening to the radio and I found that I don't skip through the talk show part as fast because I'm like, there could be good stuff on here. This is what we do. But it's on the radio. So I've been listening. But I was listening to 98.1 and the guy started talking about how there's the show on the radio that's being sold and the people who have hosted it for all these years are still coming back to work every day and finishing out the show. And he doesn't know if he could do that. and he thinks he would like trash the radio station and like be really cranky about it because they come in and say we sold the radio show. Like you're out of a job. And he's like, I don't understand how these people are doing this every day. And it's the fish got sold.
No.
Oh.
And so that like Len and Sarah or whoever, they're letting them like close the show because he opened the show. But I thought it was really cool that someone noticed like
something different.
there's something different that they can keep going. He couldn't put his finger on it. Like the whole time they were having a conversation, they were like, what is it? How are they doing that? I don't know that many people could do that. And he went on and on and on about it. And when I realized who it was, I just thought like, how cool that like he sees that witness in a radio show host because he's a believer.
So the fish, 95.5 is no longer going to be, it'll be the fish, but
I don't know. He just said it
is it
got
going to be
sold.
a Christian? I'm guessing it might be if they're still going in. Like there's probably some mentoring going on or something.
Well, he made a big, they let him go in to finish out like the fish. So they're still doing it for like 4 more weeks before it switches over to whatever it is. I'll have to go read his post because
interesting.
The guy said there was a post about it, but he opened the very first show and now he gets to close the last one.
Wow.
But I just thought that was cool.
So cool.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Can I say one more story?
No.
Yes.
So Leo had his birthday and he said he wanted a lizard. So I'm like, it's been years. He wants a pet of his own, And I'm like, if you don't have a party, I will buy you a lizard. That's fine. We can do that. So he's like, all right, that's what I want to do. So on his birthday, we drove to Stowe to this awesome pet store. And I'm going to say what their name is because they are awesome, if I can remember. Animal Jungle Pet Shop. We drove up there because they know everything about every lizard you could possibly think of or any reptile. So we go up there. And the lady was super friendly. And we went in there like leopard gecko. We want a leopard gecko. She's like, you really don't want a leopard gecko because they're nocturnal.
Oh.
So you might get bored with it because it's going to be sleeping every time you're awake. So I'm like, okay. So we look at all these things. Bearded dragon was an option. So we're like, okay. But you have to feed them like live bugs every couple days. And I don't want to do that. I don't want crickets in my house. So I'm like, ugh. So then she's like, oh, here's the snake. It's the easiest thing to feed. And I'm like, I get scared. I am a little scared of snakes. Not a huge fan. She goes, they're the easiest to take care of. Have you ever thought about a snake? I'm like, no, because I'm scared of them. She goes, well, what are you afraid of? And I'm like, what if they crawl in my bed at night? She goes, well, that's the exciting part.
No.
I'm like, oh, no. So anyway, we were trying to narrow things down. I thought we were getting a bearded dragon, even though I didn't want to feed it all these things all the time, or a crested gecko, which was my vote because it was like super easy maintenance. And then she's like, oh, well, there's this lizard over here. And I'm like, okay, more than I wanted to spend. She goes, super easy, super hardy, super friendly, loves to be held. And Leo's like melts. Oh, I'm in love, Mom. She's the one. I have to have her, Mom. This one. I'm like, oh, gosh.
That's what he said?
No, that's probably what he was thinking in his head.
His head and like the bubble that was.
Got it.
Yeah. But he's like,
his
Mom.
saying.
I'm like, bearded dragon. This one. He goes, I really like this one, Mom. I'm like, okay. So we agree to this lizard because it was easier maintenance. She goes, in the long run, it's a little more now, but it'll be less in the long run. You don't have to keep feeding it bugs and, you can feed it an egg or cat food or dog food. I'm like, okay. So he gets the lizard. We bring it home. And then I'm looking online that it gets to be 2 feet long, which is probably bigger than a lot.
Where are you going to put a 2-foot
Yes, we're going to have a bigger cage. So today I went up there to get a heat plate. And I said, I didn't know this was me 2 feet long. She goes, it's not real. The body's like this big. And then the tail's the long part. So it's not like it's this huge lizard.
Oh, and not huge.
So we're not worried about that crawling in bed with us.
No. And it lives.
So why are you not worried about that?
It lives 20 to 30 years, guys. Oh. I said, Leo, you will be introducing this to your children. Like, here's my lizard Zelda, and maybe your grandchildren. Who knows? You're taking it to college. You are not leaving it here.
Oh my gosh.
30 years. 30
That's like a mortgage
years.
right there.
Guys, I'm going to be like 76. I'm going to be an old woman. What
It's probably going to outlive you.
Oh my gosh.
And just so you know, Crystal, my chickens made it through the deep freeze.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so happy.
Single one of them.
Were they frostbitten at all?
A little bit on the
my
comb
gosh.
for the one, but they're alive.
I don't think she wished death upon
And
them.
they're
I just
laying
all
a
of a
bunch
sudden
of
thought
eggs.
about them.
She's like, oh no, this isn't going to be good. And I'm like, really?
Oh no, this is not good. See, this is where I would have problems if I was a chicken tender. I wouldn't be able to help them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what to do.
I think we did such a good job. Like, we've literally been getting like 3 to 4 eggs, maybe a day.
Oh, during the winter too? Like
the other day, we got 8. And
Nice.
I'm like,
oh,
all right, I must have done something right.
those heat lamps out there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, chicken tender.
They made it through.
Wow. She was
That's my
angry there a
story.
little bit.
Well,
And
I was
by
like,
the
I'm
way,
So sorry. And it was like right in the middle of the podcast. And
That
I
was
like,
so funny.
they're
I
gonna
needed,
die.
do right now.
I needed to let our listeners know that every single chicken made
That
it
was
through.
me. Sorry.
So not 911.
Oh.
She has another story,
I'm
guys.
sorry, guys. I
It's
don't want to
okay.
take up the whole podcast.
We're talking about goals today. So if we haven't met any of them, it could go fast. So
I've
I don't
met
have a lot to
some.
say about that, but I do have stories.
go for it. 911.
Liza texted me that her friend's mom said, "Hey, can Eliza come over after school?" And I'm like, "Sure, that's fine." So Leo comes home, like Mimi and Pappy picked up the kids, brought them home, and Leo goes, "Hey, Mom, like Liza called 911 at school today." And I'm like, "Excuse me?" He goes, "Yeah, she called 911." I'm like, "Was there a reason?" He goes, "Well, it was by accident." I'm like, "What?" So I'm trying to get this story, and he's like, doesn't really know. So then I text Liza, I heard you called 911. Oh, we'll talk about that later because she's at her friend's house. I'm like, okay. So she comes home and she's like, so I was acting like I was taking a picture of somebody. So I turned my phone around in my case and was holding the button, but it was the wrong button. And it started to do like, it started
it
like put that
beeps.
thing where it says like you can slide to call emergency or the
Oh, yeah.
and her friend grabbed the phone and the way she grabbed the phone hit that and it slid and then it's like in the middle
You
of
have like
class.
3 seconds or something like that to like cancel it.
And they didn't.
Oh my gosh. I think we all have a 911 story.
So this is going off and then it stops. And then I don't know if she's like, I don't think anybody necessarily, not everybody heard that noise, but then the phone rang. So my friend answered the phone and the teacher's like, "What are you doing?" And the friend's like, it's my mom or something like that.
Oh my goodness.
So then she hung up and then it rang again. So then the teacher's like, "This is blah,
So
blah,
she's
blah."
hanging up on like the
She goes, "This is blah, blah, blah." And she's like, "I am the teacher," and all this stuff. So anyway, they didn't show up, but
Eliza.
Eliza.
One of
Eliza
us.
was like, I was afraid, like, what if they didn't believe her and thought she had us like captive and we're going to come over anyway?
Oh, they should have.
They should have.
But she said she was the teacher and then they hung up and everything was okay. But the teacher said, if there's a ban on phones, you're going to be the reason why.
To Eliza?
To the group that was all together, we're going to know why or something like that. If there's a ban on phones in this school, we'll know why.
Oh my gosh.
Little Eliza, sweet little Eliza that doesn't do anything wrong, calls 911 during
And gets
school.
phones banned.
And then all the boys are picking on her about calling 911. Everybody's teasing her.
That is amazing.
So.
Oh wow. Didn't Tori have something like she called 911 while they were like sled riding or something?
I think so.
On accident.
I don't remember what happened though.
I called 911 once.
On purpose.
No.
As a kid?
Yes.
You didn't mean to call them?
No. I have called 911 once for an actual emergency, but 911 on accident when I was like 12 and I was at my friend's house across the street. It was like 3:00 in the morning. We were playing house and we were having an emergency, pretending there was an emergency, and we had taken the phone off the hook and didn't realize that it was still in the wall, to call. And so we dialed 911. Well, the phone was off the hook. They couldn't get a hold of anybody. So then they showed up.
Oh, no.
It's 3:00 in the morning, and her dad was a state highway patrolman.
Oh, no. Were you in so much trouble?
There was 3 of us, and we were in so much trouble. And they didn't send us home, or anything, but they sat us down, and then the policeman talked to us and was like, "This is not a joke." And we're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. We were playing a game. We weren't trying to be
we thought calls couldn't go out. Yeah.
Literally, we thought it was off the hook. We couldn't make a call.
Right.
And he was he was really nice about it, but we were in trouble.
My goodness. Man. Last 911 story.
Oh.
This happened years ago at my Aunt Jan's house. So her grandkids were over and they were all fighting and it got real crazy. And one of them picked up the phone and called 911. And then she found out that they called and she's like, "You fools! You fools! Why'd you do that, you fools?" The phone rings. She's like, "Hello."
Oh my God.
My cousin Kate was like, she's screaming at him, "You fools! You fools! Hello." Her tune changed. She answered the phone.
You sound like Mrs. Doubtfire. Hello.
So funny. Oh,
wow. Man. We went from Hulk Hogan to 911 all in 25 minutes.
And people seeing Jesus in the fish right in the middle of all that. 95.5.
Jesus in the fish.
Oh. What fish are we looking at?
Jesus in the fish? I thought Jesus was AI. I didn't know now he's a fish too.
We'll let Aaron figure it out.
Thank you for listening to the Calm, the Storm, the Whimsy podcast. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Facebook, and Instagram. Stay tuned for our next episode. Sound sick.
Ella?
Are you sick?
A little bit, but
Lay down.
I think it's parasites.
Oh, in your nasal cavity?
Yeah.
What
Coming
if
out?
it starts crawling out during
She
the
said
podcast?
it wouldn't crawl out of my nose. I texted her, "Stop.
Any hole.
Listen to me.
Don't blow your nose.
Stop."
The lizard crawls out.
Oh my gosh.
Here comes Zelda.
I definitely sound funny.
These are not our... This isn't my microphone.
Yeah,
This is
why?
my microphone.
Is that going
That's
to make
strange.
him mad? Did we mess
No.
up? What is that noise?